Spacey Sims, and we're back with more Steam, Prison, and Finn's Route. And so far, so good. We don't hate him. We don't want to shove him off the edge of the heights. You know, like we did in the OG game. He's just his normal, docile self, the way he was in the very beginning, before he got psycho and stabby and douchey. So we're actually okay with it. But yeah, so we're just down here. We're heading back, so we haven't been framed for murder yet. So we're still technically in the, I guess, kind of like prologue. Not quite his route. So this is all stuff we've kind of seen before. But anyway, it was dark by the time we reached the station. I thought I saw the sanctuary district in the distance, and beyond it, the settlements of those native to the depths. I looked around, burning a scenery I didn't expect to see again into my memory. Oh, foreshadowing. I mean, like, we already know. Come on. And thank you for your help today, Sir Inez. I'm sorry Slush was being abrasive. I know that this was just promotion protocol for you, but is there something you can take away from it anyway? Something I can take away? The Heights is a wonderful place. And the right answer is... What about you, Finn? Something you can take... What about you, Finn? That is like I got nothing nice to say. Interesting. I suppose it's supposed to show care for Finn. Like, I care about his perspective and what he thinks. You know what I mean? But, what about you, Finn? You've been quiet for a while now. What's wrong? Oh, I'm just a little exhausted from the unusual environment. I'm sorry. You should both get a good night's sleep. You had a long day. We will, thank you. We saluted Sir Inez and boarded the lift. He kept an eye on us until the doors were completely closed. We were back inside the lift. Compared to our journey down, I felt much more relaxed. Probably because we're on our way back to the Heights. I let out a sigh of relief, happy that I was returning in one piece. Well, I guess the injury means I'm not entirely in one piece. The cut in my shoulder was no big deal, but the cut in the uniform was a problem. I can lie about my flesh, but the fabric... Mother will be horrified when she finds out. I haven't sewn anything since school. I hope I don't mess it up. Maybe I could ask Finn to do it. He might be better than I am. Hey, Finn, can you sew... I'm sorry. You're not good at it? Finn, sitting across, looked at me quizzically. I was at a loss. Are we misunderstanding each other? So? Oh, he must have misunderstood me after all. Look, my clothes are ripped, right? I showed him my uniform. I'm not good at sewing. I was thinking about asking you if you were decent at it. Oh, I see. I'm reasonably good at sewing, but I think a uniform should be given to a tailor. You could talk to the quartermaster. Oh, yeah. You're right. There's no reason to fix it myself. Thanks, Finn. So, why were you apologizing? I'm sorry that I didn't do anything. Didn't do anything? Yes, when you were fighting Brandenburg, when you were wounded, I didn't do anything. I'm sorry. I hate myself a little right now. I'm so sorry. Finn, don't bow to me. You did everything right. If we'd both fought, maybe I would have been hurt. Maybe we would have won. But it wasn't a battle of two on one. It was a duel. Nobody but me and Sir Sashin could fight it. You respected my wishes. That's all I wanted. Hanging back takes courage, too. Courage? And no, that's not what I just didn't do anything. I didn't move at all. Having a sword and not using it is... I mean, what's the point of having it then? Next time, then. Oh, and that's why it takes the blame for murdering your parents, bitch? Man! Girl, you gotta pay attention. This is why you should be aware when a man is in love with you so he doesn't take the blame for murder for you. Maybe that's... Wait. I hope I am never in that position. Not, I mean that a man takes the blame... That I'm never in the position of somebody thinking I murdered anyone. Because, like... You know, but... Next time I'm in trouble, you can fight with me, okay? That's exactly what he's gonna kind of do. Did we say this to him the first time around? I don't remember. Okay, I swear I'll draw my sword for you when next you need it. Thanks, Finn. I was happy that Finn was smiling again. Sir Inez was right. I don't want to make my partner sad. I was really happy to have Finn as my partner. I don't want to make him sad or have him worry. I have to change my behavior for that. Stopping in to see management before heading home has made me rather late, hasn't it? I hope my parents aren't too worried. I bid goodnight to Finn and opened the door. I'm home. Oh, Spacey, you're finally back. Mother? I looked at my frazzled mother in surprise and nodded. I'm sorry if you were worried. My work took longer than I thought. Yes, I was so worried. Sorry, hold on. My mother, still far from calm, began to pace back and forth. This is odd. They've never been this upset before. I looked curiously at the clock on the wall. It's late, but not midnight. There had been times when I'd been even later, and they'd been exasperated, but they'd never been upset before. This seems a little... Do you remember them being like this? Mother, is something... Oh, the wedding was called off, right? This is where we find out? Maybe that's why she's all stressed out and worried. All right. I was like, this seems different. Why would she be... I mean, I don't remember. I'm like, why? Like, huh? Pacing back? But we did find out the wedding was canceled, so maybe that's why they're freaking out. You're finally back. Father... We got a letter from the temple earlier informing us that the marriage was called off. Did something happen at work? Called off? They couldn't have found out about it that soon, you know what I mean? I thought of my duel with Sir Sashin. That was in the depths. It's unrelated. Trying to think of a way that the duel could be the reason, I shook my head no. I've never heard of a marriage being called off. Why did they... What are the other families going to think? Mother, please calm down. I can't calm down! How can you remain calm right now? Well, the government decided my marriage. Perhaps they had a reason to decide against it. A reason? What kind of reason? Warner Evans and his son are douche canoes and I don't want to marry him anyway? I don't know. And they're going to call off the marriage and then my parents are going to magically die and then I'm going to be sent to the Well, it's awfully convenient. I mean, I guess we should have seen that, right? No. I'll go to the temple first thing tomorrow and ask. Please calm down. The convenient timing. You've had to work late today. I'm sure you're very tired. Get a good night's sleep. My father took pity on me. I don't want to leave my mother alone in this state, but my father will be with her. Good night, Mother. Father, I'll see you tomorrow. No, you won't. No, you won't! Ugh, I'm dead tired. Poor choice of words. I placed my sword against the wall and took off my overcoat. Then I began to untie my outer garment. It was a replacement, with my own uniform handed in for mending. The buttons were in slightly different places, making my movements clumsy. I was relieved to finally get into my night clothes. Way too much happened today. It had been my first time to the depths. It was a cruel world compared to the heights. Thought about the criminals that lived there and their overseers, the hounds. I would have liked to talk to my parents about it, but that wasn't the right time. My marriage, long in the process of planning, had been abruptly called off. I'm not as upset as my mother, but I assumed the reason it... I assumed the reason it wasn't hitting me as hard as it was her was my long-standing antipathy about it. That said, we can't really ignore it. My mother was right. Mid-tier nobility like my family had to maintain certain appearances. If word got out that our union with the Fitzgerald family wasn't to be, the shame might drive my mother to shut herself up in the house. At the very least, we need to find out why. A reason my mother and the world could accept, and that I could too. Tomorrow will be hell again. I wriggled down into bed and took a deep breath. After only a few inhales and exhales, I already felt like I was dissolving into the soft linen. My mind was weary. Good night. What was that sound? It was too loud to be a figment of my imagination. I need to go check. The house was very dark at night and as quiet as always. Right now the silence feels ominous. I prayed nothing out of the ordinary would happen as I checked the rooms. I saw light seeping out from under the door in the hallway. The parlor. Is someone in there? I opened the door and stepped inside. I looked around the parlor. There was nobody there. Did someone forget to turn off the light? I hadn't found the origin of the loud sound, but I hadn't found anything unusual either. I suppose I must have There was a knife lying at my feet. Why is this here? I picked it up. Ugh! It was my father's birthday. My mother and I had gone out shopping, and on the way home I broke the news. Are you serious about this? Of course, Mother. I want to be a police officer. I want to protect the weak. You could protect the weak as a politician like your father. That's true, but I don't like sitting around. I don't think I'd be a good politician. So I want to be a police officer. I'm really good at sitting around, but I'm not good at being a lying douchehole, so couldn't be a politician. Also, don't have money falling out my ass, so just... Spacey, just because you want to doesn't mean you can. They have strict entrance examinations that you'll need to pass, and their promotions are also exam-based, I believe. There's probably a lot of physical work and sometimes injury. Wow, are you calling me too stupid to take a fucking test? I don't want this future for you, especially considering your medical condition. It's true. It's probably not a good idea given my blood. But despite that, I still want to be a police officer. I don't want my blood to stop me. I'll take precautions to avoid truly serious injury. Please. I don't want you to have any kind of injury. I don't think any mother wants their kid to have any kind of injury, but it happens. But you're always so stubborn. Trying to change your mind is probably impossible. Does that mean I have your blessing? It does. It's my job to help you make your life a happy one. If this is what you want, then I have to support it. It won't be easy for you, but I'm sure you'll accomplish it. I will. I'll never do anything to shame the Testella family name. Like murder you. Too late. I'll work hard to become a police officer that you and Father can be proud of. That's a horrible memory to remember, though. You're like, I'm going to make you so proud I stabbed you! But we didn't. Darkness. At first, there was nothing but a starless black void. Then I began to come back to my senses, starting with smell. I could smell dust. I could smell perfume. And a moment later, my sense of touch returned. My fingers were drenched in warm liquid. As I flexed my knuckles, I came to an important realization. I existed. I was alive. I'm at home. My vision blurred every time I took a breath. It was hard to focus on anything. There was a stinging pain on the back of my head. But at least I had to get up. I took 2 deep breaths and pushed myself up. Ow! My head. The back of my skull ached. What on earth? But there was a large pool of blood on the floor, and in the middle of it, I saw my mother and father. Why? Both had gory wounds on their necks and lines of drool running from their mouths. Their wide eyes were sightless and unblinking. I didn't have to check for vital signs to know that they were dead. But why? Who? Why? For what? Questions overwhelmed my thoughts like a noisy crowd. My heart began to race. What? I looked up and saw myself in the mirror. I was clutching a blood-stained knife. I dropped the knife in shock. It made a light clang on the blood-drenched floor. What is this? Who did this? Who? I was the one holding the knife. Therefore, the one who... Mother and Father... is me? A knock at the front door made me jump. We had a visitor. My heart felt like it was about to explode. I was having trouble breathing. It was like there was a heavy weight pressing on my chest. Oh, Spacey, it's me. That voice. Hey, what happened? Stay calm. Come in and I'll explain. But, just come in, will you? Roger. I still don't really have any idea what's going on, but now Finn's here. What should I do next? Was it a mistake to let him inside? I couldn't ignore what had happened. Finn came to walk with me to the temple every day. Not telling him about what had happened to my parents would seem suspicious to anyone. Where are you hurt? We need to get you to the hospital. No, this isn't... I started to reach out, trying to calm Finn's confusion. Then I realized my hand was covered in blood. I hid it behind my back instead. Don't worry, I'm fine. No, I'm not fine. But this isn't my blood. I'm not hurt. I mean, mentally. But whose... I couldn't bring myself to say it. I turned to look at the scene on the floor again. When Finn saw the lifeless bodies of my parents, all the color drained from his face. What? No. Why did this... But... That can't be, Spacey. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I wanted to believe that all this was some kind of sick prank designed to shock me. Mother and father are dead. They won't laugh with me anymore. They won't call my name again. But this is just so... Why are they... I don't... Finn paced the floor erratically, his whole manner one of obvious distress. But at least I wasn't alone now. Having someone there with me helped me regain my composure. Who would do this? It's possible that the killer was me. Was it? No, I don't think so. I'd like to hope that it wasn't. I wanted to be sure, but I couldn't be. The uncertainty had my stomach in knots. I had no memory of killing them. They were already dead when I woke up. However, I had clearly been the one with the knife. What happened? Tell me everything. Yes, right. I closed my eyes, concentrating on the things I knew for certain. I was very tired yesterday, so I went to bed soon after coming home. In the night, a loud sound woke me. I couldn't ignore it, and I got up to search the house. Nothing was out of the ordinary, except one detail. I saw light seeping out into the dark hallway from one of the rooms. Assuming my parents were inside, I went in. But there was nobody there, and then I lost consciousness. When I came to, it was morning. I was holding this knife. My mother and my father were lying on the floor, dead. Finn hadn't moved a muscle throughout my account, listening in silence. That's all, I added helplessly, even though it seemed obvious. Do you see the knife? I was carrying that. It appears that my parents were stabbed. I'm the most obvious suspect. No. Finn's refusal was strong and clear. No, there's no way you'd kill your parents. Stay still. Finn pressed his fingertips against the back of my head. Ow! Sorry, but that hurt, didn't it? Someone knocked you unconscious. Your parents must have been killed after that. I'm certain that you're innocent. Finn, I had no memory of attacking my parents. But the facts of the situation made me the most reasonable suspect under ordinary circumstances. Finn's faith in me had dispelled my own doubt about whether I was guilty or not. I can't be... I realized that I was beginning to tear up. I berated myself that this was no time to lose my steadfast self-control. Now isn't the time to cry. I'll have enough time later. I took a deep breath to help me order my thoughts. Who would do this? I don't know. But it's a bad situation. If anybody finds out, they'll suspect you first. I mean, what are you going to do? Hide the bodies and pretend they went on vacation? Let's hide the corpses. Oh god, Finn, seriously? Hide? We have to hide them. If nobody finds out, you can't be punished. It's funny. So, impossible ends the game. And apparently it was used to remain on track for other paths in the original version when this was part of the game. So if you said impossible, it would kind of keep you on track for doing the prisoner route or the bodyguard route, but we have to consider it. I don't think we had that option the first time we played it, because otherwise, hiding the corpses. If we hide the corpses and nobody finds them, Finn's right. They will suspect me first. How would I have looked at the situation as an outsider? I would have, without a doubt, thought that Spacey Testella was the perpetrator. I had no alibi or credible defense. The evidence was overwhelming. However, hiding them isn't the end of it. My father was a politician. Others would quickly notice his disappearance. Think about it. We can't hide them. I should report it. I calmly continued, despite Finn's astonishment. I'll tell Sir Cordelia how I found them. That's the best course of action. No. If they see this, they'll find you guilty. I won't accept that. I doubted myself when I looked into his eyes, filled as they were with doubt and anguish. Are you expecting me to lie forever? Let's assume we managed to hide them. Are you telling me to keep saying I don't know why both my parents suddenly disappeared? I can't do that. I love my parents. I don't want to hide them from somewhere out of sight. That makes more sense. I want to bury them in the Testella family grave. How would they feel knowing you're accused of a crime you didn't commit? I don't know. I can hardly ask them now. I don't think they'd want me to hide their corpses, though. Important question to ask your parents. So, if you're ever murdered and I look like the most likely suspect, would you want me to hide your bodies? Or would you want me to, try to prove my innocence? Just theoretical. I mean, report. I can't ask them. I don't know, and I can't ask them. It's this is not a question you'd ever ask. Unless you're playing some weird card game and that's one of the hypothetical questions. If you were accused of murder, what would you do? It's not something normal people, think of to ask their family, Finn, whatever you say, I intend to report the truth. But don't be so obstinate. We're police officers and we're sworn to justice. What would the people think knowing I've broken my vows? Whatever the situation, I have to face it proudly. Don't you think so too? It's I only joined the police because I love you. I don't believe in any of this. I suppose so. He reluctantly agreed, but remained dissatisfied. No, not dissatisfied. Finn was worried about me. Don't look at me like that. Justice will prevail. Truth will prevail. All right. I'm sorry for my offensive suggestion. That's all right. I know you're just worried about me, right? I really appreciate it. Thank you, Finn. She should have been I'm going to stay here, you go get the cops. Is that all really true? Yes, I wouldn't joke about the death of my parents. No, of course you wouldn't. Well, do you have any suspicions? No, nobody. My father and my mother were both well liked. As a politician, he no doubt had enemies, though. At the very least, I don't know of anyone who bore ill will towards them. I see. Sir Cordelia, what will happen to Spacey now? It depends. Her father's profession may make things more complicated. Until order and... whoops. I don't know why. I thought that was carried. I'll order an immediate investigation. As you'll be part of it, Testella, please remain within the temple. Understood. Euclid? I'll stay with her. All right. You need to be strong now, Testella. Yes, I know. I suppose we'll never find out in this route about everybody else's involvement. Even though this is supposedly the last route that you do, which also doesn't make sense. Why? If this is the last route you do, it's not available? Why do they have that choice? impossible or considerate, where if you choose impossible, well, in this case, it ends the games, but it was to remain on track for other routes. Why? Why would you ever need that choice? Because you've already gone down those other routes. There's no point in having that choice. Makes no sense. Anyway. This was the only possible course of action, but I feel uneasy. No matter what I did, it couldn't change the fact that my parents were dead, gone from me forever. Everything reminded me of that. And I also still think it's really weird that the Vita version of the game, like, had Finn's route, but this, like, in the Japanese version, on Steam didn't? What was the point of that? What was the point of taking him out? It's just weird. I mean, I understand why it wasn't translated, because it wasn't, they don't usually translate, they translate PC games, not Vita games, which would make sense if the PC version didn't have Finn's route. But I just don't understand why when you'd be like, here's the PC version, it's got everything but that one route. Everything but that. What's the point? It's weird. Anyway. No matter what I did, it couldn't change the fact that my parents were dead, gone from me forever. Everything reminded me of that. I think I just read that, but this is for the best. Attempting to hide their deaths would have done nothing except make me the prime suspect. It definitely would not have helped your case when they found the bodies, because they would have eventually. Unless you throw them over the edge of the heights. I mean, you could do that. This was the best choice. Do you want to go to the chapel? The chapel? Yes, I thought you might want to pray for your parents. And not that it'll make any difference, but... Finn looked away and mumbled a dejected apology. Yes, I'll do that. But if I'm alone right now, I think I'll go insane. Will you come with me, Finn? Yes, gladly. This place is always so quiet. Yeah, there's nobody here but us. The chapel was part of the temple, a place to offer devotion to the holy Yune. We approached the icon of our faith and said our prayers, and sat down on one of the few pews. Finn sat beside me. The only sound I could hear in the quiet was our breathing. Father, Mother, I'd known that they were mortal, that someday their lives would end. I just didn't expect it to happen so early in my own life. Was there some way I could have saved them? I tried to think of anything I might have done for them, but drew a blank. The stab wounds were deep. It must have been very painful. May they at least rest peacefully in the world beyond. I looked at the ceiling. My breathing was steady. I expect this will postpone the marriage, won't it? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Weddings are held here sometimes. It made me remember your marriage arrangements. You tried on the wedding dress. You would have gotten married here soon. It's a shame. Well, the marriage was called off yesterday either way. Called off? But why? I don't know. My parents told me when I got home. They didn't know why. They were pretty disappointed about it, though. I wasn't as depressed over it as they were. I never wanted the marriage very much in the first place. Perhaps I was even a little relieved that it was canceled. I was going to come to the temple first thing in the morning to ask why. We talked about it before I went to bed. That was my last conversation with them. I wish I could go back to the past. Losing them this way was horrible. We never even had a proper goodbye. All they'd ever done was support me, and I'd never had the chance to return that favor. And now I never could. What's going to happen to me now, I wonder? I had no idea. I felt like a vast darkness was engulfing me. You'll be fine. Finn placed his hand on mine. Finn? I told you, I'll always be your friend no matter what anyone says. I'll always believe in you. Thanks. I took his hand and laid my head on his shoulder. Aw. I'm a little tired. Can I rest here for a minute? Of course. Sleep if you need to. Thank you. Thank you, Finn. Like the happiest moment of Finn's life. All it took was for your parents to be murdered. I'm glad I found the pendant. They won't find me if I sneak back to my room. Spacey, where were you? It's so late! Mother? We've told you this before, that you shouldn't wander around outside. What if you get kidnapped? There's not a lot of places to go. The heights can't be that big. I'm sorry. I'm just happy you're alright. You're our only daughter. Please try to...
That's enough, Misty. She looks pretty miserable already.
Dear.
You had a reason to wander around outside, didn't you? Oh, didn't you? More like, didn't you?
My father's kind voice calmed me down and I nodded. I lost the pendant Mother gave me. I went to find it. I found it, look! I turned towards my mother and apologized again.
I'm glad you and your pendant are both safely made it home.
What? My father embraced me. His facial hair tickled against my cheek. He barely has a mustache. It's like the creepiest mustache ever.
We worry about you because you mean so much to us.
He's a good dad, though. I love you too. Both of you.
We love you too, Spacey. It's just like trying to hammer it in like, your good, nice, sweet parents are dead. There she is!
Footsteps echoed through the chapel. Finn and I barely had a chance to stand before they had us surrounded. What is this? I didn't understand what was going on. I looked around, confused by the hostile glares being aimed at us.
Spacey Tistella, you're under arrest for the murder of Keith Tistella and Misty Tistella.
Hey, they actually have real faces in the background. And they don't all have the same hair. That's actually kind of cool. Like, they're not just like faceless, same hair dudes. I'm under arrest? What? No, this must be a mistake. She didn't do it.
Shut up, Rank 1 officer. We have
incontrovertible. Incontrovertible. Wow, that's hard to say when you're like,
we have incontrovertible evidence.
You're trying to like scream it.
We will expel you if you continue obstructing justice. Wow. Anyway, you're under arrest, bitch.
It's okay, Finn. Let's follow their orders. I don't want you to lose your job because of me. Well, but... Finn, you said you trust me. You really meant that, didn't you? Yes, of course. Then I can accept my fate. If there's someone who believes me, I can accept it. But you're being charged with a crime you didn't commit. This isn't right. I know, but I can't fight my way out of this.
Yeah, that's only going to make you look guilty, Chig. Why'd you kill 13 police officers if you were innocent? I mean, I didn't want to go to jail.
No matter what they say, I'm innocent. I'll never confess to killing my parents. I'll clear my name someday, and I want you to be there when that happens.
Are you done? Let's go.
Wait, don't take her away!
What is it now?
I killed them.
Well, this is different.
Wait, did he say that in the first one and we were like, Finn, no you didn't? And they're like, ha ha ha, no you didn't. I don't remember this. I killed her parents. There was a knife at the scene, right? I used it to kill them. Take me away and not her. Finn, what are you... I mean, maybe that's the impossible versus the considerate. Maybe that's the difference. Like, that's what really technically pushes you, because you're like, the other choices didn't really... I mean, they did matter in this instance to get to his route, but there had to have been, if impossible, say in the original version, considerate had to be the choice that kind of pushes you into Finn. I'm sorry I lied to you. It's the truth. I'm sorry.
Someone arrest him.
Yeah, this didn't happen the first time. Okay, so this is definitely different. 2 officers began to lead Finn away. He never turned back. Did Finn really... I wasn't the only one surprised by this. The other officers were also stunned by the sudden confession.
You're still a suspect in this case, Spacey Tistella. We can't simply release you, so you'll be taken to the holding cells as well.
All right. There was no reason for me to attempt an escape, but they still shackled me. He's just following regulations. I'd probably have done the same in his stead, I thought. I wouldn't have had a shred of doubt, believing I was in service of justice. But now chilling in jail with Finn.
Your innocence is by no means proven. Don't even think about trying anything.
I know that. I whispered and listened to his fading footsteps. These are really nice holding cells. There's a nice little bench to lay on. There's a chair. It's not like, here's a bar, here's some bars and like pee where everyone can see you. These are nice is all I'm saying. Look, there's even some kind of painting happening here. I don't even know what is going on. I don't want to know. I put a lot of criminals in here. I know the building. I was in a holding cell designed for suspects and criminals. Leading them to these cells was a task given to rank 1 officers. I didn't know much about what was done with them afterwards. I wouldn't have expected to stay in here myself as a suspect. Well, I guess being a suspect is still better than being convicted. The problem was Finn. I closed my eyes and tried to remember a sudden confession of guilt. I killed them. I killed her parents. There was a knife at the scene, right? I used it to kill them. And take me away and not her. His simple confession had rung true and yet confounded me. Did he really kill my parents? I vigorously shook my head to dispel this ludicrous idea. He'd never do that. There's nobody I trust more than him. He must be lying to help shoulder the blame. He was doing it to protect me, I reasoned. Finn, what have you done? I'm sorry, I had to stretch. Frickin' arm and shoulder killing me. I wish I could click while stretching. He would have probably suffered adverse consequences anyway, but now he was going to take the fall for me. I can't let you do this.
What do you want to say?
I want to talk about the murder of my parents. Finn Euclid isn't the murderer. The one who killed Keith and Misty Testella was me.
What?
I'm telling you that I'm the murderer. I killed my parents with my very own hands. I used a knife. Finn knew it and tried to take the blame, but I did it. He's completely uninvolved. Please, set Finn Euclid free.
I can't accept your confession. We believe his confession to be true, and therefore he will be sentenced.
What? You can't be serious.
I am. He'll be exiled to the depths some days hence. I'm embarrassed to have served together with someone like him.
Oh, wait! His confession! Why were they believing him so readily and more than me? He hadn't done anything. Finn, I can't let you just... Why? Why is this... A few days later...
Wake up, Spacey Testella.
Is this eyeballless guy again?
Get up. I'm to take you to the assembly hall.
Assembly?
Yes. Finn Euclid will be tried this afternoon at the assembly hall in the temple.
A trial, huh? We didn't even get a trial. Well, God, Finn, you're one step above us. You actually get a trial. I mean, sure, you're going to go to down, like, they're just going to throw you down there anyway, but...
Yeah, for killing Keith and Misty Testella. Ordinarily, he'd be exiled without a trial, but he's receiving special treatment due to his merchant family's connections.
He'd be exiled without a trial. Well, that explains we did it, but then again, wasn't it like, when Yune saw that, he was like, the fuck is this? You just shipped her out? Like, no, nothing? Huh?
You're asked to attend as the family of the victims.
Victims?
You must hate the man who killed your parents. It's kind of funny to be betrayed by your former partner.
Not former. He's still my partner. And he didn't betray me. There's nothing funny about this.
Stop babbling, woman. Let's go.
My parents were just murdered, and you're like,
being such a douche. I'd slap him.
Now you gotta send me to the depths. I'm going there anyway.
There we are.
We reached the assembly hall inside the temple. Here are the politicians representing different districts, gathered every day to decide the future of our country. I haven't been here in a long time. The politicians were almost all hereditary nobility. The Tistellas were no exception. My father's father had been a politician before him, and they'd expected the same of me. Right. I was here on my 10th birthday. He'd said it would help me understand our society. Now, 8 years later, my father was no longer there to lead me by the hand. I forgot the no. I walked on, feeling suddenly depressed and lonely. The curious gaze of the people fell on me. I felt naked and exposed. Stand here. The officer had led me towards the back on the right-hand side. A curiously empty chair awaited me among the occupied ones. A chair for the victim. I stopped and looked around the room. All the people were of different ages and wore different clothes. Few of them looked to me like temple employees, which meant there's such a large audience.
It's unusual, but the Euclid family is involved.
They're hoping for a spectacle. Trials were no joke. The defendant's future depended on it. I struggled to suppress my growing anger and looked at them in turn. Is that Lord Warner there? Warner Evans. He was the father of my former fiancé, Fitzgerald Evans. Why is he...
Lord Evans is the Speaker of the Assembly.
The Speaker? So he'll be the judge here. Why had the engagement between me and Fitzgerald been called off? Perhaps he can tell me if I ask him. But I had more important things to worry about.
It begins. It begins.
A commotion rippled through the crowd and police officers emerged. Hey, they let him wear his uniform. Surprised. They were leading Finn to the front. His face was expressionless and impossible to read. I'd never seen him like that. It hurt like a knife to the chest.
Way to use a metaphor of like your parents were just stabbed and you're like, it's a knife to the chest. Oh, hey!
Kind of like my parents.
We'll begin the trial for the murder of Keith Tistella and Misty Tistella. The accused is Finn Euclid. Step forward.
Like Finn's like, me?
He's doing this fabulous, like, me pose, like in the middle of... It's just the way he stands, but it looks so weird. Read this oath first, Finn Euclid.
I, Finn Euclid, solemnly swear that I'll speak only the truth, hide nothing, and distort nothing.
Good. Now, murder of...
I did it. I told you already. When will you believe me? Are you busy with other things? Get the trial over with. Finn.
Silence! Nothing happens without reason. Why did you kill them? Tell us why you murdered the parents of Spacey Tistella, who's sitting just over there. Like it's gonna... We're like, hey, Finn, hi! So, how you doing?
What? I was stunned to see him pointing at me and averted my gaze. He didn't kill them. He can't have a reason. I suppressed the urge to yell at them. When I slowly raised my head, I looked into Finn's eyes. I knew that he was fully committed to shouldering the blame. No, they will punish him for it. I had to stop it, I thought. Lord Warner, Oh. He admits it right off the bat. I'm in love with Spacey, and that's why I killed them. What?
Silence! Silence!
Not you. Oh, my birds just think I'm yelling at them. Lord Warner attempted to silence the crowd unsuccessfully.
Finn Euclid, do you understand what you're saying?
Of course I do. I'm not confused. If anything, I'm the calmest person in the room. I swore to tell you nothing but the truth, and I am. I said I'm in love with her.
Unsanctioned love is a serious crime.
Can't stop my feelings.
Think about the situation this puts your family's company in. Withdraw your statement, Finn Euclid.
Yeah, because Warner Evans is pissed. He's like, no!
Damn it, Finn, she's supposed to get thrown up so that we get rid of her!
Finn's like, no, I did. He's like, no, you didn't. How do you know I didn't? Because I made my son kill it so that she would end up going to jail. Oh. Just pissed Warner off so much. He's just so mad at Finn for taking the blame that he just admits what happened. That would be a really fun, like, alternate ending. You're like, wait, what? What? I won't lie about it or hide it. I love Spacey. I love her from the bottom of my heart. I couldn't let anyone have her, and yet I wasn't her chosen partner. Your son, Fitzgerald Evans, was chosen, Lord Warner. This is actually like the love confession that's supposed to come at like the end of the route, and it comes at the beginning, and I actually kind of like it. Like, okay, in every other part of this game, in every other route, fuck Finn to high fucking hell. Okay, fuck him. He's a... I don't. But, like, separating Finn in the regular game to this Finn, okay. All right. I don't hate him as much. I still don't like him. Like, he's not like, oh my god, Finn's so great. He's not a horrible person in this route. And I don't hate him. He's kind of a doormat. But I really like what they did with this. Like, he's just straight up admitting, like, I love her. I'm just totally in love with her. Right off the bat. Awesome. I just feel like you always know. Like, you knew from the very fucking beginning we played this game. Oh, he's in love with you. He's totally fucking in love with you, and he killed your parents because he's in love with you. I mean, and that's exactly the excuse he's using. I did not know what was going to happen in this route before, like, when we first started playing this game. I did not. Like, what I suspected, like, Finn did it. Like, but I just... I don't know. I lost my train of thought there, but... No, but, like, you're typically the, like... Oh, they're your childhood friend. Oh, you always knew. You're like, yeah, they're in love with you, blah, blah, blah. And it takes them forever to finally admit it. They don't admit it till the end. It's kind of like all the other routes in a game is usually like you meet the person and like whatever. And then you fall for each other as the game goes on. The Finn character would always be in love with you, but never admit it till the end. The fact that he's just admitting it right at the beginning is actually kind of refreshing. You're like, thank you. Knowing you were in love with me since the second you rolled up. Hi. Oh, he's fucking in love with us. You can just fucking tell. You just knew. You just fucking knew. So it's nice that he admits it. Instead of when we're in love with him, he's like, I've always been in love with you. And you're like, oh, what? I like having that moment right off the bat. It's a little more genuine that he's just finally admitting it. Instead of like holding back and pretending and trying to con you into liking him. He's just like, I love you. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess. Sure. Guess we can see where this goes. Like, yeah, anyway. Why wasn't I the one? Why was it him? I couldn't stop thinking about it. It consumed me. But one day I knew what I had to do. I had to take her away. Take her away? But where? I don't know. I didn't think about it. As long as I had her, I could be happy wherever we were, I believed. Okay, so Finn's a little fucking crazy. Like, because, I mean, yes, he's in love with you, and he's using that as, I'm in love with her, and I'll use that as my reason for killing her parents, and then he's spinning that, but when he's saying this is all the truth, aside from the stabbing her parents, and you're like, but he's actually fucking crazy. Although, and again, this would have been a so much better one to do first. So, again, it makes no sense to me that it's the one you do at the end. You already know the truth. But if you did this route first, right? If this is the first one, you're like, oh my god, he really fucking did kill their parents. Then when it turns out it wasn't him, you'd be like, oh. Because, like, he knew. He's like, oh, you got hit on the back of the head. How'd you fucking know I got hit on the back of the head, Finn? Did you do it, bitch? For this very fucking reason, it's so plausible. It's so like, oh my god, he really actually did kill our parents. And then, like, you go through his all route. Like, you didn't really kill our parents. Nah, I didn't. He really actually killed your... You know what I mean? Like... And in all the other routes, you'd be like, exactly what it was. He killed our parents because he thought that we'd be in love with, and then then we fell in love with Elkreed, and that's why he killed Elkreed, the psycho. It works out perfectly until you find out it's not what happened, and then you're like, oh, I really believed it was Finn, though. Having this route be first would have been fucking perfect for that. I don't know what they were thinking, being like, he's last. Why? You already hate him at that point. I mean, I did. And again, thankfully this came out later, so I'm taking the step back and being like, okay, let's just forget all the crazy psycho stabbing he did in all the other routes and just go with him in this route. And okay, he's not terrible.
taking him as he is right now and not what I know he's going to be like in other... Well, he's not really in the future, but, you know, he's still crazy. Because like this, I'd have been fine no matter where we went. This is why you're one step away from stabbing Elk Creed. All I'm saying. Oh, Elk Creed. Just need to see your beautiful face again. No one will ever make me stop loving Elk Creed, okay? Anyway. When I snuck in to take her away, her parents discovered me. I tried to convince them but failed. When they threatened to report me, I killed Keith Testella and Misty Testella. And we're like, so plausible. I wonder if she's confused, because I am. Like, we know we didn't, but you'd be totally like, oh, it sounds legit. But I knew that he hadn't done it, but he said it with such conviction that it seemed to stab my heart. But more importantly, he loves me? All I've said is the truth. Now go on with it and set me free. Now get on with it and set me free. I ask the delegates, who votes for the innocence of Finn Euclid? Lord Warner looked at the assembly members. Nobody so much as raised a hand. And I judge you guilty, Finn Euclid, for the murder of the Testellas and for unsanctioned love. You'll be exiled to the Wait! You've been invited to observe, but not to speak. You can't do this. I'm part of the family of the victims. You need to let me speak. Finn didn't kill my parents. The murderer is still out there. I see. So who did it? I don't know, but it can't be him. Finn Euclid is innocent. No, I am guilty. Why are you... I love you, and so I must be sentenced either way. I transgress against the justice you bear aloft. This is how it should be. Finn, but you... Finn Euclid, you're exiled to the depths. Wait! Finn was being led away by police officers. The hall was unruly, but Finn left it as dignified as could be hoped for. Spacey Testella, come here. You've been proven innocent and will be released. Any objections? Yes, He's been sentenced. Accept it. Your parents would want that too. How could you know that? Finn hadn't killed my parents. The trial had brought closure to absolutely nothing. It's kind of funny that they're like, you're innocent, you're free to go. Oh, but you're going down to the depths because that's what happens when your partner gets sent down there. So there's really no point in letting me go. I mean, what are you going to do? Let me get my shit? You go pack your stuff because you're going to the depths too. Wait, but I at least get to pack my stuff? Okay. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. Finn had been lying. He couldn't have done it. Finn didn't kill them, so why did they have to send him to the depths? He was probably lying about being in love with me as well so that they'd sentence him. I don't want him in that primitive land. I won't let him suffer there. I'll get him back. I can still make it. They're still in session. Good. I looked for someone in the crowd. There. Lord Warner, do you have a minute? He's like, ugh, oh, you. What is it? I can't agree with the trial's conclusion. He isn't the type of person to murder someone. He would never have hurt my parents. It's impossible. He's like, I know that. My son killed your parents, but like, he is just clinging to this shit. Someone else must have done it. I request a retrial. Impossible. The suspect admitted the crime and the assembly sentenced him. But... Don't waste our time, Testella. We're too busy to linger on a single case. He'll be exiled and atone for his crimes. That's all. I can't overturn the conviction. I didn't want Finn to suffer for something he hadn't done. May I speak to Finn then? Slap Warner Evans. Can I go to the depths too? No. To him? No, to him? He's been sentenced. Can't allow it. We have laws against that, you know. I know that. That's why I'm asking you personally. He was a good partner to me. I'd like to say goodbye at the very least. I need that closure. Nothing will change if you... I know that! I'd just like to talk to him. Please, Lord Warner. Lord Warner considered it and eventually nodded.
What you doing, hi, buddy?
I'll send word to the detention block. Be there at nightfall. Lord Warner, we're making an exception for you. Don't go blabbering about it. I know. Thank you so much. I don't know why they're going to let me go talk to him, because I'm going to end up getting sent down there too. Fool. Talking to him will change nothing. He's like, you do know what happens to you once your partner gets convicted, right? She's like, no, you end up in the depths too. So you'll be able to see him all the time. I don't know why you need the closure. It's just really weird. It's like that it's because you don't know, like, well, I mean, you do, but she doesn't, so they're playing it as if you have no idea what's going to happen to you, because theoretically, you wouldn't have this would be your life. You wouldn't have gone down all the routes in reality. You know what I mean? And she wouldn't know, but it's still fucking weird. A few hours later, it was evening. I went to the detention block as bidden. I was no longer a suspect, and the police officer serving there treated me with improved manners. I had the vague and uncomfortable feeling that he was trying to make up for his previous behavior as he led me to Finn. This way, please. The door opened. Finn sat on a chair with both his hands shackled. When he noticed me, his eyes snapped open. Spacey, why are you here? What do you think? To see you. Finn mumbled in disbelief and looked at the floor. He looked pained and extremely tired. They agreed to give us time alone. Rest easy. I sat down on the visitor's chair and looked at him. His hands were tied to the chair. There were no marks on his wrists. He didn't seem to have resisted at all. Why? You're innocent. How I wished to hold his hand like he had once done in the chapel, but alas, we were so close and yet so far. Finn, tell me, why did you say all that? All that? About my parents? I know you didn't kill them. Ah, like our first Finn CG. Technically, well, I mean, we had the wedding dress one, but we'd already seen that one, so. I committed a crime anyway. Adding another to the tally doesn't change anything. I feel glad. I can be punished for it, so you won't be. I'm glad I can be useful to you. Finn, why? Because I love you. Finn grimaced at me and continued. I know you don't feel anything for me, but I was telling the truth. I absolutely do love you, Spacey. Stop it. When they made me your rank 1 partner, you were so strong, filled with conviction and justice. You towered over someone like me. I have no strengths of my own. I didn't want to just follow you around. I wanted to stand beside you. I didn't want to slow you down. I wanted to help you. And I continued to love you so much it became difficult. Don't say any more. I loved you for so long. I wanted to be with you. I can only ever love you from now on. I love you far too much. I love you. You've said that like 40 times. Like, he's really... This is a serious crime, Finn. You're a police officer. You've arrested many others for their mistaken love. Yes, and it hurt to do it. I'm exactly the same. I already knew then that I also had to be arrested and sent to that distant land. And the people are the country's foundation, and population control makes the foundation strong. The temple assigns a fiancé to control the population. A love that contravenes the great plan is therefore a crime. I'm assuming he's just rehearsing the law. I always believed in it. I still believed in it. I could not question it. Again and again I had been taught how important a law it was. Finn has broken that law. Like, you can't help your feelings. She's just a fucking robot. He could be very stubborn. He wasn't going to change his mind, I knew. Perhaps we should never have met. I would have liked to change the past then, to find some way that would let him escape his sentence. I'm sorry, Finn.
All the deliberation ultimately led to an apology. Finn laughed in response. What are you apologizing for?
I'm sorry I can't love you back. That's the wrong answer. That's like a really bad one. That's harsh. Like, oh, I'm just sorry you were sentenced for a crime you didn't commit. But it's like, I didn't understand how you felt. This is the nice. This is like the slap in the face. This is like the total avoidance. And this is the, sorry I didn't understand how you felt. I'm not really saying like, oh, nah, buddy. And I'm also not being like, I love you too. Look, it's the right answer, but.
I'm sorry I didn't understand how you felt. I always... Hey, was I a good partner?
Huh?
I know you didn't look at me as a potential lover, but was I a good colleague to you? Of course. I couldn't have hoped for a better one. I see. Thank you. I feel honored by that. Finn laughed softly and looked at the ground. I was too vulgar to hope... I was too vulgar to not hope I might be the chosen fiancé for you. But I wasn't. And when the letter reached me, it wasn't your name I found in it. Perhaps going to the depths won't be so bad. I won't have to go through the wedding I don't want to have.
And then all of a sudden we're like, Finn, you're brilliant! Let's go down there and marry Eltreed.
He's like, what? I can wither away loving you. There might be happiness in that. What are the others going to do? Like your family? I don't know. It isn't my decision. It doesn't matter to you? Maybe this sounds cold to you, but I've always been baggage for my family. I won't miss them. Aw. Goodbye, my beloved Spacey.
They actually make you like Finn. Like, this is like, you're like, I actually feel for him. Wow, okay, all right, look. Bravo, game, bravo. Because I came into this like, I don't know how I'm going to feel because I hate him. I hated him in the other routes. Absolutely fucking hated him. And to be dead honest, if this game, if it had all the routes and we played all the routes and then we got to Finn, I would have been like, no, fuck him. I don't believe your bullshit. No, screw you. I would not have been able to pull myself back and be like, all right, let's just think of him as himself, the character we knew, the kind of the doormat that you're like, about. I don't think I'm going to be like, oh my god, Finn's like the best. No one will ever take that place from Elcreed, okay? Like, ever. Elcreed and Ulrich are like my boys. I love them. Yune's route was torture because I had to do it twice. Like, the end of it. Like, it was kind of torture. Like, it was fine the first time, but like, and I appreciate his story, but I'm just not a personal fan of, he's like the lolly boy and you know me, I'm not a fan. So, like, I just can't really... I can be like, oh, their story's nice, but no. Like, Inez was a good character, but a little bland. Like, now looking back, I'm like, Inez, you're like, oh, yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him, but I don't remember, like, being like... And maybe I enjoyed the route at the time, but now, again, it hasn't been that long, and I'm like, you just fade away into the distance, you know? Adage, poor fucking Adage, I forget he exists. I'm always like, oh yeah, who the hell's the other? Oh, right, Adage, right, him. I feel bad for him. He just fucking ceases to exist. Elcreed is always just, that bitch is my number one. But I did enjoy Ulrich's route, and I really do enjoy him. But yeah, if this had existed and Finn's route was first in the game, I think I could have appreciated Finn. Like, oh, okay, I can appreciate his route. Like, yeah, he's not my character and he, like, whatever, but I can appreciate his route. And I really do actually like that they do this where he's like, straight up, I love you. Totally fucking in love with you. Going to the depths, taking the blame for your parents' murder, so have a nice life. I'm actually touched by that, Finn. And then, like, you go down his route, and then you'd be like, oh, okay. And then he does the psycho shit, and you're like, you son of a bitch. I don't know. Like, I just feel like... I don't know. I don't know which would have been better. I think if we were playing the game all at once, you know, without the little break in between, that would have been better, because if we played everything where I was like, goddamn Finn, I hate you, you son of a bitch, and then I had to play this route, I would not have had any, I'd have been like, I don't give a fuck what you feel. I hope someone stabs you when you get to the depths. Like,
I would not have been able to appreciate him at all because I hated him so much in those bad endings. Everything he did. I know why. Like, yes, you're so fucking in love with us that you get down there and you're like, yeah, I can be with you now. And then you see us with everyone else and you're like, and Sashin torture, you snap. He's not strong enough mentally to be able to handle it. I get it. Still doesn't make me like, oh, well, I'll forgive. No, fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just me personally. I understand what led him to be a psychopath. Still doesn't make me forgive him for being one. I don't know. But I can appreciate him more in this because there was the time period, like, it's separate. It's away. I still hated him. And like, but now doing this, I actually think of this Finn as being different than that Finn. I mean, and I guess technically he was. So like, I feel like I look at him the way he's supposed to be. Like, that person that stabbed all your friends and like was crazy and murdery, like that's not Finn. That was him like literally losing his mind. And this is like the best thing for him, aside from the fact that we're going down his path, is is for him to actually take the blame, because then he'll just be a prisoner and he won't be tortured by Sashin. And even if we don't love him, he's probably not going to stab. I don't know what's going to happen in his bad ending. I say that and then he's probably going to stab us in one of his bad endings. But I don't know. I can appreciate him now after taking like some time off. But I was legitimately concerned starting to play this. Like, but no, I mean, I don't think I'm going to come out of this and be like, he's the best character and I went from hating him to loving him. No. I think I'll enjoy his route. I think we can enjoy it for what it is. You know, because they did good by this whole like love confession right off the bat, instead of him being like, yeah, no, I just said I loved you so that you'll be free. And then, you know, whatever, cool. You know, he straight up is like, no, I fucking love you. And like, whatever, like, wait, what? Bravo. I appreciate that. And it actually does make me feel a little bit more for him. Like, oh, okay, I don't actually hate you right now. Even though I know how you did in the bad endings and I want to hate you, but I don't. Huh, cool. Game changed my mind a little. It's not going to change my mind for him to take Elcreed's place. But it changed enough for me to be like, oh, I kind of actually appreciate you for what you should have been. You know? And again, how I probably would have at least appreciated him in his route if he was the first one we did. So, all right. Anyway, we'll continue this. Now we're actually getting into more of the meat of his, which is actually different. So that's cool. So we'll just continue on his route in the next part, which will probably be up later today, since I think right now I'm doing like, my anticipation is doing 2 parts a day, because I'm ahead enough that we can manage that. So cool. 2 parts a day until this is done. So see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.